Now, Bassi Kamara, who is vying for the flag bearership position, joins us this morning here in the studio to speak about his aspiration. And good morning, Bassi. How are you?
Good morning. Good morning, viewers. This is Bassi Kamara. I'm aspiring for the ticket of the flag bearership. I am here to discuss issues of relevant concern.
Okay. So who is Bassi Kamara?
Bassi Kamara is a young, dynamic gentleman and who is married and had 2 children.
Had?
Yes.
Or have?
Have, sorry.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yes. Have 2 children. Both of them were born in the US. But he is a young man who grew up in the Wilberforce community. I was born 36 years ago. 46 years ago. And from humble military gentleman, and my mother was a peddler. Both of them are deceased at this moment. And I attended the Wilberforce Army Municipal Primary School and later continued to the Morgantown Army Municipal School. And then after attempting my first selective entrance examination, I continued my study to the collegiate secondary school and later attempted my West Africa examination and council exam at the services secondary school, that is the GC, which stands for General Certificate of Education. And I involved in doing some kind of correspondence courses to the United Kingdom, and I obtained an advanced diploma in accounting and administration. Later went to the United States and pursued my education as well. And I obtained my associate degree in accounting.
So you did live out of Sierra Leone?
Yes.
And how long have you been back?
Yeah, let me just finish so that I will come with that. And then pursue also to obtain my bachelor's degree in accounting and finance, minor in economics. And then later continue to obtain my master's program. And I have a master's in management information system, that is Masters of Science. And now I'm also engaged in doing my doctorate. But I suspended it because I have to come and contest for the flag bearership of the All People's Congress Party. I've been out of the country for 9 years. So within that 9 years, I have visited Sierra Leone 7 consecutive times. So I am au fait with everything you can think of, whether it is politics, economy, socialization, you name it. So there is nothing whatsoever that is hidden.
It's one thing to be au fait with it. It's one thing to be a part of it. If you've been out of Sierra Leone for 9 years, and you've just been in and out, how well do you understand, or how well do you relate with the people? I ask this because when you think about the APC, there are some names that come to mind, and these names are also vying for the same position that you are gunning for. So, which means that you're either not well known, or maybe haven't done something maybe very monumental. So take us through on your political history. Aside from what you know, what have you done politically in your quest to become a flag bearer?
Thank you very much, Ms. Bangwa. You see, this is a fundamental question when I come through the limelight over the media. Many people throwing questions. Are you popular? Let me start from that point. Nobody is popular in APC. Nobody is popular in the APC party. Do you know who's popular? APC itself is popular. So no matter what, whosoever emerged to be the flag bearer, within 72 hours, the whole world will know you. But there is a caveat we need to know, because the popularity is one, but again, at this time, people are looking for someone who is clean, fresh, has no political stain, no political baggage, someone who have both national and international recognition, and at the same time, somebody who can offer something and who is known to be a problem solver.
And the other contestants or your other colleagues who are also vying for this are not what you've just mentioned?
Well,
they are lacking in that area?
Well, thank you very much. When I conducted my research, these are the three basic fundamentals that came up. And we are all fine. I can tell you this. We are all qualified. But if three of us have a bachelor's degree and we are applying for job, right? And I was not selected, we are not selected, and the job we are giving to you, that doesn't mean you are qualified than all of us. It means you are the most suitable at the time, taking into cognizance maybe the value and the culture of the organization at the time. So we are talking at the time based on the prevailing circumstances. On the ground, where you look the cloud that is over the APC, and this is what the people pinpoint. They said, whosoever will emerge as the flag bearer for us to win the 2023 election must have these three qualities, otherwise we cannot. They emphasize on these three criteria that I call factors. Let me repeat it again. Number one, they said they need a fresh face, no political stain, no political baggage.
A fresh
and
face.
You should be clean. Number two, they want someone who has both national and international recognition. Number three, they need somebody who can offer them something and who is also a problem solver. When you look within these three criteria, within the APC, I'm coming, within the APC,
exactly.
Within the APC, there are people who met 1, 2. But I can tell you, Basikama, I can speak for myself, is the only candidate that met all 3 of these criteria.
The 3 criteria, as you read them out, no political stain, someone that has something to offer, and what's the third one again?
International recognition.
International recognition. National international recognition. Let's talk about the national recognition, because that's the main part. One expecting, going in for a position like this, you're supposed to, well, I wouldn't say you're supposed to, one is expected that someone going for this position is someone that has like a very good knowledge of the country system and that is widely known nationally. So when you're talking about national recognition, how well do people know you? Because for a lot of people out there, this is the first time they're hearing about Basi Kamara.
No, this is not the first time. Do you know why most
For
of you guys
a
are
lot
baffled?
of
No,
people
let me address that issue. Let's take it one after another.
Okay.
The reason why it is because I did not participate in the administration of the Kuruma government. So many people thought that it is not known. I joined the APC in 1996. Most of these folks you've heard, I am senior than most of them. I joined the APC legal and legitimately in 1996, and I became an honorary foundation member in 2007. That qualifies Basi Kamara to run for president.
So you being a senior member of the APC party,
yes.
Let's talk about your national recognitions. Name some of them.
Thank you very much. I have not held any political appointment, because that is the area many people are concentrating. Because you can come today, you become a minister or you hold a political appointment, then you're known within the hemisphere of Sierra Leone. But that is the area many people thought that Basi Kamara
but
is
don't
not
you think,
so now let me tell you what I've done for the APC.
Okay.
Right? Now, in 2007, I am the one who provided 163 gallons of fuel when we were campaigning, moving all over the country. But that one is somehow isolated.
But that's
so
to aid a campaign.
Yes, what practical things have you done?
Aid a political campaign. What about
recently,
something to help the people?
Yes, I'm coming. Recently, I am the one who sponsored the constituency 110. You have not heard that, because this is
sponsor them
on the election.
Okay, so
yes, based on my own party area.
Sorry, Basi, before we continue. So both of the things that you're talking about, they're like aiding political stuff. What about things that you've done to help the people generally without being connecting to politics?
No. I mean, we have to take both of them and try to analyze so that people tend to understand. Then. Permit me time to deliberate on these issues, madam.
Please continue.
Right? Let me come back to the political side. I will deviate to come to the national issue.
All right.
Now, I personally sponsored the constituency 110 election on my own party area. And then when the party was about to go for an outing in Bure Beach last December, I single-handed sponsor it also again. And then when it comes to painting of the party's office at Brookfields, I single-handed responsible to ensure that we have a clean and a verified
we want to understand
system.
What's your national base? What's your base? Because if you do become the flag bearer, you would not be voted based on painting the APC office because it's inconsequential to people.
No, it's not inconsequential.
It is inconsequential to people because people would not be voting you if you become flag bearer of the APC based on you painting the APC party.
Okay, thank you.
We want to know what's your base? What has been your political? What has been your work? How integrated are you with the community? What's the work you've done for the people? First of all, for your party to give you the flag bearership, and let alone for Sierra Leoneans to entrust this the highest office to you. What have you done? What's your track record?
Thank you. I have 22 years working experience. I will start from here. You understand? I am contrary to someone who have sat down for 22 years, who have done nothing. And then we gave him the position of trust. Now let me come back to the floor. I worked SOS Trust Sierra Leone as a project accountant, and later I succeeded Mrs. Brown as the national accountant for the country. All right. When I left there, I went to International Development Services. We all know the Jamil Said, right? So I work under the jurisdiction of Mrs. William Perry. I was the assistant financial controller. And then I left there before I find myself the Ministry of Health and Sanitation. So in the Ministry of Health and Sanitation, I worked there 6 years, 4 months before I left for the United States. I was the project accountant at the SR level, the Global Fund. This is the gentleman who came up with the formula for the enablers package that has now replicated to Liberia, Nigeria, Ghana, Zimbabwe, and South Africa. This is the Basikama who did that for this country. I was audited 21 times in 6 years, and I had A's in all by the best auditing firm in the whole world, PricewaterhouseCoopers. I'm the only one who have made that record in this country. Go back to Ministry of Health and find out for yourself. I'm making it over the media. The whole country is hearing me, as well as international. Notwithstanding which, even when the SLPP are parading, we are having the climate change funding. This is the young man who designed and developed the budget single-handedly. This is a $45,000 project. I did it free. That is $29.8 million that is going to employ 2,049 people. This is the Bashi camera.
Sierra Leoneans, what do we do for push this country?
158 dot centers. Dot mean directly observed treatment shots.
Sierra Leoneans, what do we do for push this country go before? Wake up your body and do something.
Employ 2,049 people. This is the Bashi camera. So when you are talking about Bashi camera, what have you done? We established 158 dot centers. Dot mean directly observed treatment short course. Myself, my boss, who was Dr. Blafe because he died recently, and the chief laboratory technologist, Abu Garawani George. We all spearheaded. I was the brain to ensure that each chiefdom across Sierra Leone, had a diagnostic center for tuberculosis. The only part of this country I have not been to, that is Bond Island itself. So I've walked length and breadth of this country. So those things are, anonymous, because if you have someone that you are working with, these are the kind of things that are not known. But this is basically, that's why I said, I am quite au fait with the fundamentals of this country.
So
being outside of Sierra Leone, I've come back 7 times.
Just as you talk about being au fait, before we come on to the national politics, let's talk about the politics within the APC. Yeah. What's your take on the current executive and the what's going on at the moment in the APC?
Well, and of course, this is the fundamental reason why many people are considering that Basi Kamara is the most suitable person to take up the challenges of this country. Before answering your question, when it comes to experience, it comes to knowledge, it comes to qualification, the young man is second to none, right? Now, what is happening, we know the infight, we know the cloud, we know what has happened with the mainstream government, that is the party in power, where they want to castigate the APC.
Well, we'll get to the national politics.
I'm coming. So between the integrity of the party structure itself, we are fine, we are good. I can always say APC, we are one, irrespective of what is going on, because the turbulence you guys have had, that we are divided, that is how APC always be when we are in opposition. But no sooner when we are close to election, you will see all of us will come as well.
So what's your take on the NRM? Because clearly there's still this court issue hanging over the APC, and even reports of new lawsuits against the current executives. What is going on? What's your take? We want to understand that.
Let me tell you, the NRM has a legal and a legitimate standing on the issue, but unfortunately they fell through the process. These are my brothers. Even though I do not belong to the NRM, I share their concern based on what happened during the past convention we had. Many people became disgruntled, right? Some of us also were disgruntled, but some of us were matured enough to say, all right, APC is one, we can come together and pick up the pieces and try to forge ahead. So the fundamental mistake is to take the party to court. We should have handled this within, in-house, right? Now, most of those who are in the NRM are saying they want the aged to go away. I do not believe in that. Do you know why? I'm a Christian and I brought up in a Christian home. Even up to now, I teach in church. There are times I preach. One thing I normally quote is Joel 2:15, which says, in the last days I will pour out my spirit upon all flesh. It says, young men shall see vision and old men shall dream dreams. What does that mean? Even God Almighty that we believe, all right, made this combination that aged and the young should work together. The fundamental here is we have the technical expertise, we have the knowledge, we have the enthusiasm, but we do not have the experience. So we need those agents to guide us through.
So you are saying you do not have the experience?
No, what I'm saying, this is a collective, assertion I'm making at this moment. As young men, no matter my education, no matter my exposure, you cannot compare my experience, for example, to Ernest Baikoma, who has been there, who have gone through the crucibles.
And the other
as well as the Secretary General Usman Fodi Yatsane.
And that includes the other elderly individuals who are contesting or vying for the position, which clearly means that they have more experience.
No. There is a caveat here, right? The fundamentals we are talking about, we are looking in a general outlay. What does it mean to take all those agents out of the way, of which I do believe that should not happen.
But there's a report.
But when you talk about experience, I have 22 years working experience, both national, international. I'm a university professor.
But there's a report that there's new you know, new lawsuits challenging the legality of the current executive to go ahead with the delegate conference and even possibly adopting the new constitution. Can you make sense out of that for us?
Well, I do not have an in-depth knowledge about that, but what I do know, where I came from, the United States, I understood that certain elements within the APC in the New Jersey, you know, chapter came up with some kind of issue relating to what you are talking about. But honestly speaking, I have not delved into it. I know there is issue within, but I can categorically tell you that it will be solved. I understand the APC. These are my brothers. And by the time I left again, go to the diaspora, specifically United States, most of these guys, I will meet with them. I will talk with them because they are praying very hard that we have a very young man who can dissect both the aged as well as the young. And this is Basi Kamara, who is 46 years old now. He's a university professor, and he has both national and international recognition, 22 years working experience. And this is the person who can bridge the gap. Now, what Basi, is going on?
Sorry, on the issue of bridging the gap, let me just come in there. You've got so much self-confidence, but one might say you're not quite au fait with all of the issues happening within the party as compared to the other aspirants that are in town that are quite au fait with the issues, that most people know that are quite au fait with the national issues. Firstly, let's start with in-house issues within the APC. Before you, there's this normal saying that you have to fix your house before starting to fix other people's. What are you trying to do to fix some of these petty issues? Well, whether they're petty, some of these issues within the APC. How active are you in fixing some of these issues?
Thank you very much. And one of the fundamental things I have done so far, and this is with consultation with, including the structure of the party. Talking about the structure of the party, you're talking from the leader and chairman of the party right down to the grassroots, those who have like legal status, you know, within the party. I've been going around meeting one-on-one to dialogue, to talk to them, for them to see reason. Do you know why I'm doing that? I believe in unifying people, because divided we will fall, united we stand.
But before you talk about bringing these people together, do you believe that the APC party needs to be reformed, and if yes, how?
So when you talk about reform, APC has already been reformed.
Well, there is still a lot of
cold war. Permit me to address this issue before you jump in.
It's
otherwise, because people want to learn. The people want to learn.
Continue.
All right. So APC has already been reformed. You know, I've been in so many places within the shortest possible time. I've held a lot of meetings. I do not, have, breathing space within a day. Even after here, there are some groups like the chair ladies, the chairmen. I have to meet, sit down and discuss issues of relevant concern that pertains to the APC. So when you talk about division, of course, I do know there are factions, but I can tell you, not that they hate themselves. When you talk about power, power is something that is very thick when you come into politics. Everybody needs it. Everybody wants it. But you can only become the leader and the head once in a time. That is why I brought on this example. If
so
all of us here have a yes,
the question is, do you believe the APC needs to be reformed? And if yes, how? What's your expectation of reformation?
The party has already been reformed. Now, NRM came up with several, issues and inferences. And those inferences has been look deep within that capacity and then address. All right, myself, I was really opposed, even though I'm not part and parcel of the NRM, I was opposed to the selection clause. But what the agent have done, they have removed it, right? There should be no consultation. They removed it. So what is the problem here? They have done all the issues brought forward by the NRM. that this is what we want. And the agent sat down with them. They have a 15-man delegation. They look into it. Everything has been concluded. The only problem is we want a resoluted document that should be endorsed. Where the problem came from, we do not know. I do not know. So, talking about APC should be reformed, it is reformed as I'm talking to you. Now that we are going to the convention on the 28th of February, we are going to endorse the constitution based on what the popular vote is. So in that perspective, the people will rise and say, okay, this is the constitution that we want, or maybe we'll go back to the 1995 constitution. Because by the time we were about to hold our last convention, there was an injunction which stopped us to moving forward. So we are going on the 28th, 29th of February to adopt a constitution, and then you will see. So far so good. I do believe you've learned about this. APC's reform is a very fine party, and the people are all agree, even though we have our differences.
It is a very fine party, as you say, but would you agree with me that there is a cold war within the APC and also out of the APC within the APC and the current government? So let's come to the million-dollar question. What will you bring to the table?
Thank you very much. That is one of the greatest questions, you know, I've been logging to see. You see, I'm a problem solver. Normally, I make reference to someone. When David wanted to fight Goliath, he went to King Saul and told King Saul, you know, I fought a lion, I killed a lion. I fought a bear, I killed that bear. So I can also fight Goliath and kill Goliath. I am the young gentleman who came up with the formula in the United States. They struggled it for 3 years. I am not the one who built, you know, the catheter for those medical, you know, system or what have you, right? I came up with the calibration. I solved that problem. That was the thing I did before I was appointed the supervisor to supervise an entire department. Metronics has an employee of 84,000 across the world. It is the largest medical company in the United States and even to the rest of the world. A black man. I became the supervisor, okay, of the USPS, United States Postal Services. I am supervising over 5,000 people. So why did they bring Basi Kamara here? I am a problem solver because I study and I'm also a licensed business analyst.
That brought Basi Kamara.
Yeah, so now that we are looking at within the party structure to solve the problem, I understand the fundamentals. I know where the issues are. I know where the problems are. That is why I told you I will one breathing. In other words, I made this quotation.
Quickly, Basi, you said they brought Basi Kamara. Who is the they that brought you?
No, I didn't say they brought Basi Kamara. Maybe you misunderstood.
You just said they brought Basi Kamara.
No, I said they brought Basi Kamara. I am referring to the United States when I became the supervisor at the United States Postal Services because of my predictive analytics, you know, expertise. I solved the problem we are looking forward to. So it's the same thing. I'm a problem solver. I'm the one, I said, who came up with the formula of the Enablers Package program here.
So what's the problem of the APC that you're going to solve?
Well, the problem is, currently we know, as you rightly said, we have this division in the sense that there are different factions, all right? And of course, of which you know, I am saying all of them are fine, are qualified, but at this time, they are looking for the most suitable person. Now, what should I do? I use my experience, both national and international, to bring this body together. When I become the next flag bearer, my intention, my hope, my standing is to ensure to meet them one after another for them to see reason, dialogue with them, speak to them, and let them understand that we are one. The onus here is for APC to win the 2023 election.
Is that the only problem of the APC?
The different...
Yes, is that the only problem?
Well, there are other issues that has already been solved, by looking into the complaint made from the NRM, and those issues, I want to believe, we are also affecting those who are still standing on the way and fighting the party.
So as you talk about affecting the party, the previous record of the party in terms of its governance system under the previous president, Ernest Bai Koroma, clearly is quite mucky, and the perception and the image of the APC is clearly not very beautiful. You know, I mean, if we take a look at the COI report, there's been a heavy indictment on, you know, past officials of the APC. So where do you come in cleaning the image of the APC, especially as people are pretty much still apprehensive, given the level of corruption alleged under the previous administration, the APC? What do you bring to the table?
Thank you. That is why when I conducted my research, the people of this country categorically state it, and even the rank and file within the structure accept the fact that these are the research. Remember, the people
rank and file agrees.
They agree on the findings. On the findings based on my research. When the people say,
and sorry, so this the findings that there were massive corruption under the administration.
This is what I'm coming to. Remember, I told you the people said they want someone who is clean, no political stain, no political baggage, and who is fresh. Right? That is the first, you know, research, you know, we conducted and then presented. Everybody agree with that. Now, what is the role of Bassey Camara to ensure that we clean all this mess alleged against the APC? Even though we know there is a white paper, we don't know yet because it has not been published. Nobody knows who involved and who do not. So put some, you know, preference in it, or you hold it, you know, as a pretext to capitalize on whosoever is appointed.
But do you agree, Bassey, that there was corruption under the previous administration?
Of course. You cannot wipe that.
Okay.
Even in the United States of America, the most powerful nation on earth, there's corruption. But, you know, there are systems that will fight back to, you know, unravel those things. Now, most of the things you talk about, the COI, the $1 billion, I'm the one who came up when they interviewed me in VOS in the United States and said, no, that's an operational audit. We have to understand the fundamentals. I mean, to some certain extent, we do not know. $1 billion is being stolen. People are just probably APC are thieves. It is not. It is not physical money that is extorted from, you know, the bank account. As what we are hearing now all over that $410,000 has been taken from the Bank of Sierra Leone. You and I knows what is going on. That is blatantly, yes, I mean, culpable for those things to happen because we have controls. I am an accountant, a finance person. Now, those $1 billion in the COI are false. These are operational audits, which means if you guys would have managed the economy in this way, you should be able to save or make $1 billion.
So the economy was mismanaged.
It is money. No. It is not mismanaged. I'm an accountant. We have what we call misappropriation, anomalies, and fraud. These are three fundamentals that people don't understand. Okay. Right? Even though they might mean the same thing, but, you know, technically you have to separate them for us to understand. It is the language that was played, people don't understand. You have different types of audit. An operational audit was conducted by those forensic guys. I'm also a forensic accountant, right? What does that tell you? It tells you that if you would have managed this thing well, right, there is no need for much water to spill out. Does it mean you tend to heat this water to spill all over the place? So efficiency and effectiveness is what that particular report was saying. It is not money that was extorted or taken or misappropriated from the account.
So basically what you're saying was mismanagement and inefficiency under the past administration. So what do you bring?
So there comes...
What do you bring?
That is my expertise.
If you become the flag bearer of the APC, what do you bring, or what will you bring to the table to ensure, like you have just referenced, that the mismanagement and inefficiency under the previous administration does not happen under your administration or watch?
Yes, and one of the fundamental things I will bring to the people of this country, I will create a big database system on a centralized basis, where you will be accountable. Everything has to be done through control system. I mean, it is ridiculous today in the 21st century, we are still taking cash, we are still effecting documents or documentation across board to use it as a process to obtain, you know, our salary or whatsoever. These are things that are wrong. I am also, as I'm saying, I'm an information specialist. In fact, this is one of the things where I was hailed in the United States, where I became, you know, the CEO, the first black man, you know, to act in that capacity at the Universal Medical Services in 1801 Nicollet Avenue South. They went to the university because they had a proxy fight between management and the board. So they don't want nobody. They went to the university. By then, I was tutoring, you know, financial reporting. They requested an accountant to go and help them. I was recommended by the Department of Academic Excellence.
Based on your credentials?
Yes. So I went there, I fixed their problem, and then I worked with the IRS, the Internal Revenue Authority, and a certificate of merit was given to me. So to solve problem, I create a computerized accounting system for them. I did a forensic accounting for them, and I stabilized. I was supposed to be there for 2 months, but I spent
Basi, there is no doubt that you do very well in working around these controlled and refined settings. So how caught out are you for politics? Something as rugged as politics, and now you're going for the flag bearership. How caught out are you? How ready or how prepared are you for this? Because a lot of messages coming in, and a lot of people think that, oh, you're not ready for this system.
Yes, the reason why many people are not ready, I told them about factions.
They say people you are not ready.
No, I'm coming. Let me tell you, right? I understand psychology. People are now, you know, timid, you know, shivering in their corners. We know this guy. See what he's saying. Those who believe that they have their own, you know, candidates, let them come in so that you can vet them as you are vetting me. Let them speak out. Because the people say they want someone who is clean and who is fresh. If your candidate is clean and fresh, let them come out. I'm not naming names. Right? Now, how to solve this problem? I'm a problem solver. And the very first day when, you know, I take over, the very first thing I will sign for you to understand that I understand the fundamentals and integrities is to create a department called the Strategic Initiative Department. Right? In fact, when the SLPP came on board, I was the one doing it last time, talking about executive order or appointing chief consultants of the state. They appointed. They do not really understand. What they do not understand, they do not understand what we call the structural, symbolical imperatives. That is why they are creating a lot of issues and problems. Why? Because they are using the 20th century solution to solve the 21st century problem. So they fail. They know nothing. And I can categorically say, the mishap where they are making all these kind of bottlenecks, it is very simple. Because even simple, the trickle-down economics, when we talk about the Reaganomics, which is the presidential face of his own theory, they do not understand. Look at what is going on currently in this country. People are dying. There is suffering. There is hunger. How can you ensure to reverse this thing? Because there is only 3 ways you can diversify your economy. They've missed all of it, and now they've killed what? Investment. There is no investment confidence. There is no security for those people. I was embarrassed when I went to All Professors Conference in Omaha, when I went to my university to contact Warren Buffett, the 3rd richest man in the world. Unfortunately, he was not there, but he instructed the dean of the university to take care of me. In the last day after I did my presentation on blockchain, hyperledgers, cryptocurrency for Africa, Then I was called upon. It came out plainly. But what's your problem? We know that the last time you requested for a large-scale commercial farming, they gave you somebody, you brought that person to Sierra Leone. That was 2016. So what is it? You want investment in your country, and then you are killing investment. What about the general mining? I was embarrassed because they believe that Sierra Leone is my country and I belong to Sierra Leone. So if we have all these things...
But one would argue that a lot of those deals were not in the interest of Sierra Leone. We were not benefiting.
All right.
A lot of those contracts that were signed were pretty much shady.
Do you understand about contract? Do you know management? Do you understand finance? All these things has been done? That is the fundamental mistakes all you guys are making because to some certain extent you are not asking this guy the right questions.
Which guys?
The ruling government, the SLPP.
Okay.
Let me tell you, when you go into contracts, you have enforceable contracts. You have contract then that we refer to as command instruction. When you talk about supply chain, you have break the supply chain. Now for general mining, they are what? Exhuming or extracting the raw materials. Those materials go to Europe, they convert them to finished goods, and it goes elsewhere. That is the chain, value added, right? When you stop geomining, do you know how many jobs I've lost in Europe, in other places? Because it's supply chain. But it is not for Sierra Leone. So you create a lot of problems. Now,
but a lot of this contracts
you have to review.
Were not done by this previous
No. Let me tell you, we have what we call systematic review. If you do what we call problem solving in data presentation, I'm just taking these things, right? I understand all the fundamentals.
Okay.
Problem solving, you cannot just say because of this contract is bad, you know what I mean? You then, if I employ you, right, we have what to call a bullwhip effect. Let's say you have to do this, because of there's no job, I should fire you. Then when the job comes, maybe I have to increase. You cannot do such a thing. It is somebody who do not understand the fundamental concept of basic management can do all of those things.
We do have companies now coming in. We see investment coming in.
When they come on board,
not as we would love to see it. Again, taking into consideration COVID, but we have seen some companies.
No. Any company that is coming up, I can tell you, I can categorically state it here with authority that we are blacklisted.
Okay.
So you cannot see reputable company like the GR Mining, those ones like we talk about Metronics, you know what I mean, Minards. These are the companies, when they come here, just one company will be able to employ up to 6,000-7,000 people.
Okay.
Right? The company I was working for is 84,000 across the world. Even the USPS, in fact, that is a federal
Did you pitch to the companies that you were working for them to come invest in Sierra Leone?
Oh my goodness, how did I bring the large-scale commercial farming to Sierra Leone in 2016? I even extend an olive branch to this government, right? Did you know what they said? We know that this is the flagship of Basi Camara. If we endorse this thing, right, then we are the one who fired our own head.
Really?
Go and ask Dr. Ali Kaba, who is now our representative to the United Nations. I engaged them on 2 equal occasions. As I said, I'm the one who creates, built, and designed the budget for the climate change for 2,049 jobs. I came with it.
Right,
I have it in my flash that. So I'm a problem solver. I understand the fundamentals and how to fix the problem.
Sorry, I have to hold you there. It's 9 o'clock. Let's take a news summary and we'll be right back.
Leader of the main opposition expresses concerns over the shipment of iron ore by King Home Mining Company without any agreement approved by Parliament.
I was shocked when I read yesterday that the first shipment of iron ore by King Home Mining took place last Friday. I was shocked. Mr. Speaker, I saw it through a publication by Reuters. There is no way we will ship iron ore without having an agreement ratified by this House. It should not happen, Mr. Speaker. Under what terms and conditions will they ship iron ore? We don't have any details. We don't know the quantity of tailings on the ground. We don't know the conditions under which they are going to take over. They have not mined a single ore, but yet still they have exported ore. On what conditions, Mr. Speaker? And if you go to section 40 of the Constitution, it is very, very clear, Mr. Speaker. And you will tie that with section 110, Because there is no way they will have shipped this iron ore after having repaired the rail, which is also a property of the government of Sierra Leone. That rail also is the property of the government of Sierra Leone. So for them to use it, there might have been conditions, financial or otherwise. And 110 makes it very clear whether we are going to wear, we are going to impose, etc. Parliament must give it approval. It must come to this house. And Mr. Speaker, the ore that was on ground belongs to the people of this country. We want the benefits, yes, but we must follow the procedures. So on that note, Mr. Speaker, I am urging you to get the Minister of Mines to come to this house and explain to us what are the terms and conditions entered so far, and that they must stop all shipments until we get an agreement ratified by this house.
Human Rights Commission visit border town of Yenga.
We want to let the government help we, not to force. If they interest, we don't get freedom. Because what would they see then? Every day then the canaya of the uniform, we young people they know they go to their country. So we have to the peace.
We want your positive, dramatic, standard plan and engagement with the Ghanaian partners that the people now who will get the plan, all plan with cacao, plan with coffee, plan with masangi. So our best for all pay tax to government. If now we never pay tax to government. This year will be last year because of government.
Means of transportation is facilitated from the Guinea end. So once the border is closed and the canoes that ferry people across are all parked on the Guinean side. So there's no way one can go over from the Sierra Leone end until permission is granted from the Guinea end. You could see clearly they are trying to re-establish this boundary. But what they told us when we went there, that the boundary was somewhere the road is being constructed right now. But they have come this end so that the construction of the road will not be interrupted. So they are now establishing that this is the boundary between Sierra Leone and Guinea.
The reception that we received from our Guinean counterparts, they have been very much helpful. As a matter of fact, everything was actually very fine. We have completed and we are very grateful.
And Parliament summons Bank Governor of Sierra Leone for unsolved issue of local currency shortage.
Mr. Speaker, to my dismay, yesterday, a very senior member of this house, I'll not call the name, wanted money from the bank. He couldn't get the amount he wanted. This morning, coming from my house to Parliament, there was a long queue at the bank, the local commercial bank, people queuing for money. Mr. Speaker, if the governor cannot tell us a reason why we have a shortage of local currency, he cannot give a profound explanation. Rather, he came with bogus theories, which we all know about, and he failed to address the basic dynamics of our local economy. Mr. Speaker, I think he needs to come to this house today to explain to us, for the benefit of the house, for the edification of this house, to let us know why we are in the state we are.
The governor was able to explain the reasons for the shortage of the cash somewhere around November, December. And he assured the committee and the people of Sierra Leone that that was a thing of the past. That there are enough cash in the banks to ensure that that will not happen any longer.
The House or the committee that that particular episode was a thing of the past. Yes. Then how come yesterday and this morning members are experiencing in that case, consistent with what the leader of government business has suggested, to still leave it within your domain to invite the governor to bring you up to speed on what has actually happened as against the real experience of members of parliament when they go to the bank.
Welcome back. For those of you just joining, we have Basit Kumar, who is vying for the flag bearership for the APC party. So before going on the break, you were asking him some questions, Olaika.
Yeah, I was asking Bassi, again, how caught out, how ready are you for something as rugged as politics? Because you've been talking about working with refined institutions.
Yep.
And when you actually become a flag bearer, you have to deal with people.
Of course, yeah.
You have to be taking care of people. And these people, well, they have to take care of what you want to be to get done. And politics is rugged. Most people say politics is a dirty game. How ready are you for this?
I'm more than ready to take up the challenges of this country. You know, I'm a very young, dynamic gentleman who has what it takes in terms of knowledge, in terms of skills, and in terms of how resources should be allocated. Normally, I tell people politics came for 2 reasons. Many people don't know, even those who study politics in university. 2 major reasons. Number 1, the differences in opinion, and number 2, the limited resources allocated. Because we will never agree. If they gave us here 1 million Leones, they said, okay, do something with it. You will have something different, I will have something different. Now they will tell you, okay, you control it. I will be watching you. That is what politics is. In other words, you will be in the mainstream, like the government, spending the money. I will be in the opposition watching you. I will be shouting, hey, you see, you gave him the money. Now he's taken 20,000 out of 1 million. He's not spending it in the interest of the people. That's what politics, because it has its upsides and the downsides of it.
All right,
but the question is, okay, it is rugged. How can you ensure this? When you have sound policies, most of the things I've seen is guess. Some we have some policies. When I'm trying to deliberate issues, come up policies to put it as a process to work, I come with data. You have to see it. You should know where you stand and where you are going. You should see it clearly, practically, in a reality form.
But
not that something somebody tell you, you said this.
Okay, Bassi, without going back or giving reference to refined settings,
yes,
how do you plan on bridging the gap between political parties and also issues within your party, and also meeting the demands of the grassroots without reference to refined systems?
All right. You see, when we talk about national cohesion, you have to be honest, sincere, with integrity. That is what leadership takes. Most of the things, we voice it out, but we are not sincere, we are not serious. We have something that we keep aside. I would say all the fine words, when you come to power, you do the opposite.
So previous flag bearers were not sincere enough?
I am not saying previous flag bearers.
Because they all have been trying to bridge the gap.
Yeah, the gap. But we see under the Kurma administration, whatever way you may think about it, you look at it, you understand me? I can tell you fundamentally, he is second to none. Since 1961, when we got our independence, he is second to none. He did well. He tried to unite his country under the administration of President Kurma. We understand? We are categorized the best peace-loving country. We are third. And in the whole world, we are, I think, 6th or 7th position.
Okay,
so that one has been derailed
I have to
away.
come in there because we're not talking about international issues. We're talking about national issues. President Kurma was second to second to none, as she put it. So where did he go wrong? How couldn't he bridge some of these gaps? And we're still having these issues. So with you being the flag bearer, what new will you be bringing to the table?
We have what we call the half-eye strategy. Ask these governments if they know all those things. When you come, you have a retrospective to look back. President Kurma is not a saint, he's a human being. He tried all what he can do. There should there is mistakes and lapses. Don't doubt it.
So what are some of these mistakes and lapses?
Now, when I come, I will apply what we call the APC strategy, which means the A stand for, identify what the problems. I cannot fight, because when you use physicalities, you are so weak, you are small-minded. Today in the 21st century, you use your brain. So you use the APC strategy. A, you identify what the problem, right? Then define what is the problem. Analyze the problem, then you can solve the problem.
So President Kurma, you want to say he didn't do these things?
It did this thing. That is what I'm saying.
So
because
where did he go wrong? Now we're trying to identify problems and trying to see how you push things forward. Where did President Koroma, where do you think he went wrong? That he could not solve most of these issues, because these are the main issues.
Yes.
Where did he go wrong?
To me, I can see it. What are his challenges? If you say, where did he go wrong? You understand me? You are emphatically placing him to be someone who came and hurt the economy.
No, he did not. As you said, we're all human and he could not do everything. So what are the things that you think he missed that you address?
One, I will address agriculture, because I want to provide job.
Agriculture, in bringing unity between Sierra Leoneans and also political parties.
Fine. And the rest of humanity, as I told you, I'm a Christian. I am not the kind of people who come a Christian because they hide behind that. Go and check my record. I was the president of Sierra Leone Scripture Union in this country, 1993, 1994. I built up in that. So when I'm making reference, I know I am the kind of person I talk about national cohesion. Both the opposition party, by then, when I become president whatsoever, I don't believe in using combat whatsoever. Bring these people, integrate them, and make sure that the resources is being allocated where it is necessary. For example, if I go to Pujon now, Pujon need roads, right? What is the quota we have? I have to ensure that when this money is being disbursed, for example, I will be a down-to-earth president to
but we're not talking about infrastructural issues. We're talking about political issues that have to deal with one party against another. Everyone, it's an open secret that the APC and SLPP, they're going through a cold war at the moment. How will you bridge this gap? How will you bring these two parties together in order for the good of all?
You've said it all. Before I address that, let me say this. The SLPP hates the APC more than the way they love Sierra Leone.
Why would you say that?
Yes, because we have seen most of the things that are happening in this country with regards to the COI, the Commission of Inquiry. We know all those who have participated, but you can see just selective people who belong to a particular region. If you study sociology, I'm coming. Let me build this. If you study sociology, you will understand what is going wrong. From the very beginning where we've gone wrong, you will know all these things. I will not take that part because people are suffering. The only way, we have intermarriage here, right? Let's assume that I'm single, and then by your surname, I don't know.
Olukoya.
Yes, you from the Creole, right?
Not necessarily.
All right, let's just assume. Let's assume, say, you are Mende or Timini. All right, let's assume that I'm a Limba. We have intermarriage. I may just look at and say, oh my goodness, I love Miss Collier. I want to marry Miss Collier. These kind of things, you know what I mean, eradicate the kind of things we are looking. That is why we should not bring in one group, one tribe, one section against the rest of us. We are so small. So this is where I have to dissect.
Intermarriage is still going on.
Yes.
The interreligious bond is still there. We're talking about politics.
This is what I'm saying.
Politics is a different ball game, and now you have accused the SLPP of not liking the country, of hating the country. So how, you being a man of God, a preacher, how will you bring these two parties together in love in order for the common good?
Thank you. You know, the scripture tells us, love your enemy, you know, Joseph. It has been saying that, what? An eye for an eye. But Christ categorically stated that love your enemy as yourselves. Now, we are seeing ourselves as political enemies. We are not enemies. We are one people, right? That is their philosophy. One country, one people. I want to see that manifested. When I come on board, I am emphasizing on national cohesion. I am still emphasizing on, you know, political integration. APC is the only party you can see all tribes, all ethnic groups, you know, participated in it. We have demonstrated it, and we've seen it under the Koroma administration.
Let me ask you this question then. Bassi, you seem to have, you know, you seem to be qualified. You understand. You seem to, you are qualified. It doesn't, based on what you've just mentioned. But Sierra Leoneans probably at this point now would say that they are wary of the those who claim to be qualified. The bookman them, because we see the outcome of some decisions, and some people who claim that they are professionals or who they are academically qualified. I mean, I'm not going to give a reference, but we all have one or two cases in point. So without any political experience or political credential, why should people entrust you ruling 7+ million people? Aside from your book qualification, what do you bring to the table if you have no political experience?
You understand? We say experience teaches wisdom. If I have been in a position where I have headed over 5,000 people across, you know, America is an intellectually sophisticated nation. I can tell you. I am not the most qualified. In fact, there are people who qualified more than me. But I became the supervisor of the Northland District. And I was there until I resigned voluntarily because I have to come to Chicago. Now,
that's the problem, because a lot of these book people that we have entrusted,
I am coming.
Or the,
Let the people
or the government has entrusted certain positions. They worked. Some of them worked out of Sierra Leone, just like yourself. Now the system over there is clearly not the same system in Sierra Leone.
This is the fundamental mistake you guys have been making all along. You understand me? Yes, because even when you interview, always the system will say, does America have two heads? Does United Kingdom have two heads? Does Malaysia have two heads? Where we are there 40 years back, we were one time called the anthem of West Africa.
So how do you intend to lead this reform? And this
is where I'm coming. It takes knowledge. It is not the kind of common sense, even though people are saying these PhDs. The problem we have, most of them have this academic, you know, and theoretical experience without any practical experience. This is where the problem lies. You can take somebody from the classroom who have been there as a professor and come make him a bank governor that has no. For me, I spent 3 months, even though it's not sufficient. I did my internship at the Federal Reserve Bank, the most powerful bank on earth, right? Because my strategic management and professor was Dwayne Carter. He was the senior vice president of the Federal Reserve Bank. So when I graduated by then with my bachelor's degree, I talked to him. He made that recommendation. I understand what treasury management is. I understand how to manage finance. I understand how to do remittance intermittently, the things that are causing.
So shouldn't we then put you in that position to manage the finance?
No. Let me tell you.
Finances of the country as opposed to leading the country.
Thank you. Let me tell you something.
Different things.
If you fail to put the right person at the top, with all my brilliant knowledge, my ideas, right? You don't know what is in the mind of the leadership at that time. Maybe I want, skyscrapers, for example. I want flying overs. I need modern hospital whatsoever. It might not be the priority of the person, even when you come to say, this is what we should do. So it is better you who have the knowledge, the wisdom, the idea, the enthusiasm for this thing to happen, for you to be in that capacity. Let me give you an example quickly. Do you know Steve Jobs? Steve Jobs, who created Apple, after 8 years, he was kicked out of his company. What happened? They came in, they did everything because they missed the vision, they missed the culture, they missed the artifacts.
Because we don't have a lot of time, if we make you president today, within your first 100 days, what would you deliver for the people of Sierra Leone?
The first 100 days, number one, my priority is job creation. And how should I bring that job creation? I will quantify. Let's assume that when the SLPP came and say they make nothing, broken or coming, let's assume, quote unquote, there is nothing existing, no funds. What will I do? The first day in office, my first executive order to bring the country back to life, I will quantify, of which I already made in a blueprint, I will quantify all the resources, the natural resources we have. I will use it as a receivable for a deliverable to the World Trade Organization. Then I will say, this is what Sierra Leone have. We are worth $20 billion. I'm requesting, right, and $5 billion.
So you will take a loan?
Yes, that is a debt policy strategy. And that is the only option we have. Because when you look at foreign direct investment failed, You look at the fiscal policy approach by collecting what? Revenue through taxation, fail. The third option is debt. And they cannot give a debt of that magnitude when you don't know what you are doing, because you cannot even quantify it. If I single-handedly, solve the problem from the climate change for this government, these are my fears.
So what else would you do other than taking the debt?
Yes, I will take it up front, and then what we are collecting, everything will be paid. So everything will be planned for the first 5 years. Now that you will not be thinking that, oh, those teachers don't have PIN code, and they gave them PIN code, no payment is being remitted into their account. That's not going to happen. Everything will be smooth because I've taken this money, $5 billion up front, and this will have to take us, 5 years plus.
So,
and what
you're alluding to now is the problem with Sierra Leone and the leadership or governance failure we have experienced over time is due to lack of resources, lack of money.
Lack of knowledge, not resources per se. We have everything. Lack of knowledge. The Bible categorically says that my people are perishing. For what? For lack of knowledge. When you don't have knowledge, you perish. These are simple things. How you should formulate your policies, bring it to the international community, because we are also part of the global village, and present it.
So what else
if you have an argument,
now you have the money, what else would you do?
Fine. We have broken school system, their flagship program, even a single classroom we have not seen, right? Hospitals, I said job, food, because we should be able to provide our own food, right? Yeah. And then we process, we market, we export. This is one of the leading goals, because today in the 21st century, if you cannot feed yourself, then don't take yourself very seriously.
You do realize, Bassi, you do realize that the problem we have in Sierra Leone is the fact that we just, every election period, we probably change 0.1% of the population. Yeah. You change the president, and the president brings in his own team, which means that if you do become president, you inherit the people, you inherit the system. So having that money there and still having those broken system does not change anything. It still gives room for leakages that we have seen over time, year in, year out, come in APC, come in SLPP, those leakages are still there, which means that your strategy, if you do become president, is just probably going to plunge us into further debt. Because there's no strategy in addressing this broken system.
It means you have not learned from what I have said earlier. That I will institute a big database system. Maybe you don't understand. Do you know what they call the neural network?
You educate all of us.
You understand? This is a system wherein you create figuration within department, ministry, and agencies. Right now, you see, when you are going through the toll road, right, you pay 4,000, right, and that one you pay automatically what they give you, your receipt.
Yes.
Then let a single cent missing. You will see. They will pick it, the system. This is the same kind of system that I want to network the entire country. Is it impossible? It is possible. It's just because of people are, people believe, in corruption. People believe, in self-attainment because of our ego. And thinking that when I come to power, I have to amass wealth. This is for me. I want to be the next millionaire or billionaire. It's not going to work in the 21st century.
Maybe this brings a question. If you do become the president, will you publicly declare your assets to the people?
Oh my goodness, I can do it now. I've never ashamed. During the last time, I made it clear, right? I have 3 houses, right? I have a mortgage house. I've not done finished paid for it, but in the next 2-3 years, yes, my wife and myself, right? I can give the address 1701, Maple Grove.
Yeah.
In the United States of America. So I don't have more. People are saying, unless you become a rich man before. No. It is knowledge and policies to put in place. Now, the reason why they are struggling is just because they do not understand. You have this theoretical, and at the end of the day, the practical. Now, the problem we are having is what we refer to as stagflation. Have you ever had that term before?
Educate us, please.
Thank you. Stagflation is a situation where you have inflation rising, unemployment rising, and the cost of living rising at the same time. That is, we have a negative correlation going in the same direction. Now, according to economics, I'm coming. Let me finish. Let people learn. Okay. According to economics, right? Okay. You have the Phillips curve. The Phillips curve say when inflation is rising, right? Unemployment is supposed to be.
Can I ask this very important question? Yes. Have you engaged our finance minister?
Finance minister?
Yes.
They invited him the last time so that we can have meeting at the VOS decline.
When I mean engage him, because clearly you seem to be very au fait with finances and, management of economy.
Of course,
have you engaged our finance
no.
on the ministry as a whole?
No, let me tell you, it is extremely difficult to engage people who are arrogant.
Okay.
Somebody who feels pride.
All right. Well,
and ego. I'm not calling names.
Allow you to
it is extremely difficult.
I only just wanted to know if because this is all part of patriotism. If you have all this wealth of knowledge, the question is, how have you been able to share that knowledge for the betterment or the good of Sierra Leone, irrespective of the political lining that you are in and the political party in power at the moment? So if you haven't done that, why should we entrust you that?
I have done that twice. Remember, I told you I did the climate change. Whose party is in power? It is for the country.
I'm talking about.
Do you know do you call them the forest guards? These are what I'm talking about.
Okay.
And it has to be, Yosami, a multicultural or ethnic diversity, not one tribe, not one group. Because I know I will be called upon again because my name is boldly written in World Bank. Okay. I will be called to do the quarterly budget for this country. So let me make it categorically clear. So I have done that. I also extended the large-scale commercial farming. On 2 occasions, they have 2 cabinet meetings under Dr. Alikaba. Okay. So I have done to extend an olive branch. But I can categorically clear what is killing this government is ego and pride and arrogance.
Basi, exactly on that, you extending an olive branch with your wealth of experience and your wealth of knowledge. You trying to bridge the gap between the two parties needs to start now. So with your wealth of knowledge, have you tried to reach out to the current government? Because from what we know, this is a listening government. They will try to listen to you. Have you tried to reach out to them and try to bless them with some of your knowledge in helping to build the system?
This is one way, the criticism, and I'm providing solution. If most of them are listening at this moment, they can tap from my knowledge.
Not right
I cannot.
But go to meet them.
No, let them invite me.
Okay, so
let them invite.
So this brings another question. What is the relationship between you and some of these people that are within the government? Do you have any friends within the government? Do you have a good relationship with them?
I will categorically tell you, I don't know them. It's not anything.
Have you tried to meet with them?
No, I've not tried to meet with them. Why? But I have extended some of these things to Dr. Alikaba.
Okay.
When I send the large-scale commercial farming, I send the proposal for them to reach out to Basikama and see how best I can help them. But unfortunately, again, I said we have blacklisted. Even though they want to implement it, it cannot come from the US. It is not me. It is based on their attitude they started since inception of their governance.
Basi, can I please ask you this very important question? I intentionally asked you about your willingness to declare your asset if you do become president of Sierra Leone, and you clearly wasn't hesitant. You even mentioned some of them, which sort of gives an indication that you are not rich in the term of, if we all know those who are vying for presidency, they are perceived to be rich. There comes in the question, how would you be funding your campaign, or what would be the strategy to fund your campaign? Because it's not cheap, funding a campaign. It is not cheap. How do you intend to fund your campaign?
I am going around to talk to chairladies, chairman, member of NAC, and also member who contested in the previous convention. How do I fund that?
Okay.
Right? It's from my own money. And one thing I have vowed, will not beg anybody money. It is for my own sweat and my sweat of my wife. Right? I well prepared to come. One of the fundamental things is when you win the flag bearership, then everybody will come on board. But if I have money and then the Secretary General have money, they will put it together. It is not one person's money. You know, no matter how rich you are. For example, let me make a reference. In the US, it is the opposite. Even though you know Trump is a billionaire, his own single sense will not go to this. It is the caucus, you know, so it is the party that come together when you become the presidential nominee. So it is the same thing. But for now, I'm using my own money. I'm not begging anybody.
So let me ask you then the question.
I'm coming by virtue of the position I've held. I told you I'm a university professor.
No problem. So you would fund your campaign?
Yeah, currently, this is what I'm doing. Campaign is on.
Then,
this is what I'm doing.
As we talk about campaign, why do you think the APC lost the 2018 election?
Why do I think?
Yes.
Okay, this is my own perception.
Okay.
All right? Not anybody's perception.
Okay.
One, because the way we choose our flag bearer. That is key and that is fundamental. Right?
Yeah.
And in fact, that is the most important. It brought in grief. I have to be honest as a Christian because I want to lead this nation. What actually happened, I was the first person who declared in February 18 through Asmi Uba. You know, I faced with a member of journalists and I declare myself. I was 8 months on the ground campaigning. Other people like Jeff came on board, John Bonosise came on board, Alpha Khan came on board, Petito came on board. But we've never seen anybody like Samura Kamara.
Yeah.
You understand? So when we went there, thinking that one of us would be a match, right? Unfortunately, somebody who was not originally, yes, a match. So that caused a lot of psychological and emotional pain. But for people like us, you know, that is a game of chance at that moment because we went for selection and it was known. And when it is selection, there is no guidelines. The president has that prerogative power. I'm sorry, the chair, the leader and chairman has that power. Was Kuruma wrong? No, he was not wrong.
So are you
he did
saying
it like that. I'm coming.
Lost because of Samura Kamara?
No, yes, because that was the power of the chairman and leader of the party. In the sense, right, he has the right to conduct an election and he has the right to select. And that was the constitution by then. There where the NRM came to abolish that one and came with new. That's why earlier on I told you.
So as we've mentioned Samura Kamara, what's your take on his endorsement by the executive as we speak?
No, executive endorse him.
There have been some executive members who have endorsed Samura Kamara. What's your take
all
on
right,
that?
thank you very much. I was in the US about 3 days when that happened before I came here, right? Everybody has the right because all of us has a vote. One vote. You see, these are some of the fundamentals people don't understand. When somebody like Cherry Coco, Dana Konomani came in and said we are endorsing Samura Kamara, many people catch cold. No. Does it mean Samura Kamara is going to be the next flag bearer? Maybe yes, maybe not. Right? Even for example, the Secretary General or maybe whosoever that is very important, they will come together that we endorse Basi Kamara. Does that make Basi Kamara the flag bearer automatically? No, we have to go for an election. But this time around, the guidelines are very strict. Many people are saying, oh, are you popular? Are you know? We'll know. Most of those people, they think they are popular within the party. Some of them will not be qualified. Because if we are going, it is stated in the constitution, whether it is the reform or not, that you have to be 10 years as an honorary foundation member for you to qualify
so
to run this.
Let's imagine that Samura Kamara do win the flag bearership. Do you think that there will be a repeat of what happened in 2018?
Well,
whereby the APC would lose because of Samura Kamara?
Well, this is my own question. This is my own perception, not others. Based on our research, you understand? Based on our research, number one says we need what? A fresh face, no political stain, no political baggage. Somebody who is clean, number one. There where Basi Kamara stand tall, that is second to none. So this is where it is. When it comes to qualification, all of us are qualified. All of us are fine people. Samura Kamara is a fine man. Even Sansumana, people say he's a fine person, right? Petito is a fine person. Kelframa is a fine person. We are all fine people. We are all qualified. But the prevailing circumstances on the ground, the cloud that is over in APC, people want to see a fresh face, someone that is clean, with no blemish, no political baggage. When President Nkrumah came into power 2007, there were 5 people before him. Eddie Toure, Moses, Sise. These were more matured than him. What brought Ernest Bai Koroma? Ernest Bai Koroma was very fresh, clean, no blemish. So it is the same thing. You can see the pattern, and it is written all over the places. So that this is what the people have.
As we talk about Ernest Koroma, quickly, darling, sorry, 1 minute. As we talk about Ernest Koroma, what's your take on him still retaining the chairmanship or still being the chairman of the party, of the APC
Let me tell you.
What's your take?
You see, when you look at what God is doing in the lives of humanity, you will tend to understand that that man, God's hand is upon him, right? Myself and President Nkrumah, we fought. Before I left for the 2017, we fought before I left. But let me tell you what I admire him. Even when you're facing him, up to now, you will see the semblance of leadership around him, right? We are going. If the people don't want him, then we can vote. That is why we are going on voting this time around. But I'm telling you, his leadership, to me, is constant. I want him to be there. And guess what? His leadership has proven for APC to be still, to be unshakable.
So you want him to maintain the chairmanship?
Of course. Do you know why? Do you know why? Now, automatically, whosoever become the flagger and become president, this is one of the fundamental things people don't understand. You will also become the leader and chairman of the party, right? Currently, we don't have a president. Okay?
You mean in the APC party?
In the APC party.
Okay.
You understand me? Currently, we are not in power.
Okay.
People are saying, oh, you want to hold on to power. It is us who are forcing him to stay there for direction. Okay. One of the fundamental mistakes I'm saying also this government is making is that we have to start this now. When you abdicate the seat of power, for example, President Madabiu, when I come on board, I should be able to reverence him. I should be able to pick up where, you know, he finished. And then if I have to have some kind of consultation or maybe international summit with elsewhere, if I'm not going, I will look at my predecessor to say, can you go and represent me?
Okay,
this is what we should be practicing in this country. All
right, well, with that, we'll hold you there. Currently, CD Tunis, who is the publicity secretary for the APC, is currently on the line. Hello, CD. Welcome to the program.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
All right, CD, I'm sure you've been listening to the conversation. What do you think about some of the, well, I wouldn't say assertions, but some of the comments made by Mr. Basi Kamara, especially on the All People's Congress?
Well, the fact of the matter is I'm driving, so I wasn't really listening to the program.
To the interview, okay.
Yes.
All right, well, can you take us through on the upcoming convention, your upcoming convention?
Well, as you all may have noticed, the leadership of the party, through the instruction of the National Advisory Committee, has put out a press release stating a calendar for events coming up, starting, of course, with the adoption of the amendments made to the Constitution, the current Constitution of the APC, and then the conventions at various levels to elect officers to serve in executive positions at ward, constituencies, districts, region, and national, as well as the election of our standard bearer for the 2023 elections. I mean, the events are scheduled to start on the 24th and 25th of February, and then that will be followed with convention starting in April at ward level.
All right. And some people will be asking, during the national convention, which of the APC constitution will be used?
Well, if we are able to adopt the amendments made to the current constitution, the December 5, 1995 constitution, and then it goes through the other stages, of course, PPRC, and then it has to be gazetted, then that will be the constitution that we'll use at our next national convention. And that is why our activities are starting with the adoption of the amendments made to the current constitution, because that has been like the major request by people within the party for us to reform. And the reformation, of course, started with the amendments to the current constitution of the party.
Well, Sidi, there are people within your party, even Bassett right here, who would rather see your current chairman, who is Dr. Ernest Bai Koroma, to continue to hold on or retain that position. Is this something he is open to? Is this something he has shown interest, or is this something that the party may be moving forward with, retaining his position as chairman of the APC party?
Well, I wouldn't tell, but he has always expressed interest to have somebody else step in as chairman and leader of the party. But of course, that is not a decision of a single person. That is something that has to be decided by the National Delegates Conference. But he has expressed interest to have somebody else step in. But as a party, we'll look at all of the, advantages and disadvantages, and we'll look at the functionality of the party moving forward. We just want to ensure that we are formidable, we are united, and we are ready for our next elections in this country.
Now, a number of your executives have come under the flag from some members of the party, and even some candidates who are vying for flag bearership, for endorsement of Samura Kamara by some executive members.
Yes, but the fact of the matter is, let us understand this. We as a party decided that we are going to have elections at every level, including that of election of the standard bearer. Yes, you have people holding executive positions that have endorsed, but at the same time, you also have people holding executive positions, holding NAC positions, who have been campaigning even before declarations or more than a year for people. But what that shows is this is a democratic process. People have to endorse. But the fact of the matter is, somebody endorsing a particular candidate shouldn't in any way influence whatever happens at the election. For example, CDA Tunis is acting National Publicity Secretary now. Before we elect flag bearer, we have to elect national officers. It is possible CDA Tunis may not be National Publicity Secretary. It is even possible CDA Tunis may not be delegate. And even where he is delegate, he only has a vote. So his endorsement or somebody's endorsement should not in any way influence the outcome of whatever election or what is to happen. And also, we have all decided as a party that we are going to have an interim National Elections Management Committee that will oversee elections at every level. And these are independent people, not vying for positions, not supporting any candidate.
But Sidi, let me butt in there. Sidi, let me butt in there. Dr. Richard Conte wrote to your party, the chairman and leader, stating some concerns, and I'm going to read what one of those concerns is, and I quote, "What is more disturbing is the fact that the acting National Organizing Secretary, Mr. Sidi Yahya Tunis, stated at his declaration that even if elections will be conducted to determine the new leadership of our party and the flag bearer, they will dictate to voters who and how to vote." Can you confirm if this actually happened? Because this is a concern stated by one of your...
The statement is misrepresented. I mean, it was stated that even if we have elections, people will be guided as to how the process goes. And that is just fact. That is why we have elections management committee. They will have to put guidelines as to who qualifies to vote or who should be voted for. I mean, that is what really I was stating. Nobody will dictate as to who to vote for or how to vote. No, I mean, people campaign. I will campaign to you to vote for my own candidate, but it is left with you as the individual to decide whether you will vote for that person or not. I will not force you to go vote for my candidate. But at the same time, there will have to be guidelines, there will have to be rules and regulations as to how the electoral process will go. That is just factual, and that is the case for any elections, even at national elections. So I don't want people to misrepresent that statement or, to take it to mean that people have to be forced to vote for a particular person. No, that never happens in a democratic process.
I'm trying to pull that up real quick whilst I ask you the question. This is not the first time such has happened. And a while back, I'm going to pull it up and be very precise. This also happened some time ago, in which a member of your party, I think, was either probably set aside for endorsing a candidate, I think, prior to the time of again, based on your constitutions and protocols or mandates. So why is it that actions are not being taken against, for example, yourself and other executive members who have come forward to endorse a candidate when in a previous setting it was done and actions were taken against that said individual?
That never happened. I know exactly what you're talking about. What happened in 2017, this particular individual you're talking about was a member of NAC. NAC is where most of the decisions around flag bearer issues, executive issues are made. And this person, as a member of NAC, decided to run as a flag bearer, not to support a candidate. He himself wanted to run to be presidential candidate, and he was not alone. All those who were in NAC who wanted to run as presidential candidate were asked to resign. They were not supporting PP, or they did not endorse. They were not asked out because they endorsed somebody. No, they themselves wanted to run as presidential candidate. And that is why they were asked to leave, because the decisions around elections of presidential candidates, rules and regulations are made at National Advisory Committee meetings. You would not want to run for office and at the same time you want to set the rules for those offices. That is completely different.
All right, quickly.
All right, sorry. Sidi, before we go and before we come back to Mr. Kamara, how ready is the APC for another convention?
How what?
How ready, how prepared are you guys for the convention?
We are prepared. We have put out our timetable. Of course, we have few issues in court which our legal teams are dealing with, and at the same time we are also trying to settle some out of court. But we are ready. We have been ready. Let us don't forget that this stage that we are at, we were supposed to have passed this since a year or more ago.
So what happened?
I mean, if it wasn't for the injunction in 2020, we would have had our executive, we would have even had our presidential candidate by now. So people have to understand this. We have been ready all along as a party, and we are still very much prepared and ready to move ahead.
But how about
any more interruptions?
But how about the reports that there's a new lawsuit challenging the executive, which you're a part of, on the legality of the executive to hold this convention or adopting a new constitution?
We have not seen the details of the lawsuit. I mean, we just saw a front page. We have not seen the details. So I cannot comment on that. But all I can say, our legal team will deal with it. But as far as the legality of the executive, nobody is saying that the term of the executive did not expire. But we also know that the current constitution gives NAC the power to transform itself into a national delegate conference under special circumstances and emergencies. And currently, because of the circumstances we have in our country, The Constitution gives NEC the power to extend, to make decisions, to supervise, and even to take over organs. It is very clear in our Constitution. We all just need to read and understand the December 5, 1995 Constitution of the All People's Congress. If we do, most of these problems that we are having, we will not have. I can assure you of that.
As you talk about the problems, what's the update, or how far with the NRM case?
Well, the NRM matter, as you know, 2 of the plaintiffs had already signed for the case to be withdrawn. We still have issue with 1, but the legal team is handling that. We know that it is a matter that we will settle within the shortest possible time, either through the courts or through settlement. That is bound to happen. On or before the convention? We are anticipating it will be before the National Delegates Conference.
Okay. Okay, thank you so much for joining us on the program, CD. Let's get back to you, Mr. Kamara. You've heard what CD has said on the convention and also with the issues happening within the APC. I throw this question to you. How prepared, being a senior member of the APC, how prepared do you think the APC is for another convention, taking into consideration the petty issues coming up?
I think the publicity secretary or acting publicity secretary, I've said it all. I think we all understand what they tend to submit to all of us and to the general populace for us to understand. And those issues has been clarified based on the updates, you know, he has. So on that note, let's keep it the way it is. But we do believe, as I said earlier on, that we are one, we know how to settle our problems. By the time we envisage our National Delegates Conference, everything will have settled.
Okay, so as we round up, Mr. Bassi, there is a common question that I see going on. You saying that you support President Kuruma, well, former President Kuruma being the chairman of the APC party. So people are asking, what if he decides to go in for flag bearership? Will you support him?
No, he cannot be president
What
again.
if?
No, there is no if. We have to understand the Constitution of Sierra Leone. You only have 2 terms to lead this nation, and that one has already been expired. President Kuruma or former President Kuruma will never be president, never ever again in Sierra Leone. For example, let's assume that the 2023 election, President Madabio lose the election. He has another opportunity to come and run for election. But at that time, if he wins, then you only govern for 1 term. So you cannot govern more than 2 terms.
All right.
So that is what it is.
Okay. So the million-dollar question is: are you a grassroots man? What is your base?
Oh,
where is your base?
Yes, my base is Bombali. I hail from Bombali, but I was born in Freetown, Wilberforce Army Barracks. I'm a local community young man, and I associate and I mingle. I am well known across. In fact, when I was coming up, I was a very troublesome young man from my school and up till now. So Basikama is not eating. It's just about politics. Oh, who knows you? Because people thought I've been in the diaspora for over 30 years. It's just 9 years, and within that 9 years, I've been to Sierra Leone 7 consecutive times. Every year I'm in Sierra Leone. And the longest time I've stayed is 8 months on the ground. So what is it? So I'm quite au fait with the fundamentals of the party. I understand the integrity of governance. I know the political system. I understand everything you're talking about. So when you look at Bashi Kamara, right, and the person who should lead the party and lead this nation 2023, I'm telling you, all of you guys will be proud. Why? Because you have somebody who is a down-to-earth person. I thank God I'm so young.
As you talk about being proud, what can the Bomberley people be proud of with you as a son of the soil, or those from Wilberforce Barras? What can they be proud of with you as you know, someone who has lived there, in terms of what has been the developmental work that you have done for your base?
Well, thank you very much. As a result of what I have said earlier, what I have done for this country in a collective whole, in a holistic whole, I'm not looking at an individual. If it's an individual, so I have 3 people now I'm responsible to in Fobe College, as well as IPAM. I don't want to go into that, right? I help others. Even those fundamental things, when I came last December, I spent about 17 million just to make party for Christmas for those who cannot afford. 17 million, I invited a live band in my compound.
So not developmental projects within the Bomberley district or within the
No, I've not done that yet. I cannot lie like others. I have done this. No. I'm a Christian. I search my conscience. As I said, I have no stain, no political list. Everything I've spoken, when I go back and come, please, when I come here, ask me for all those documents where I said I have worked and in the capacity.
So why didn't you undertake such development?
Yeah, no, I don't have it. I don't have the resources.
But you have the resources to campaign for flag bearership and presidency, because that's a lot of
money. I know where I'm going. Politics have now come into, and I'm running. Let's understand this. It doesn't mean because I cannot construct a road at the moment, thinking that this is not the best. This is the area where we've missed in this country. People come with money. We fail to understand that that is what we refer to as political investment. If I have $1 million, I share it. Let's say it in my coffer, in my account, bank account. I share it all over. What do you think when I step in as president? I want to recoup that expenses. There we made these fundamental mistakes.
But
let's forget to put money before. Let's look at the country in a collective whole. This is where we have not done much to educate people. That is why you see people are struggling. Politicians are telling them that we've already made payments to you guys while we are campaigning. This is not what I'm looking to. We have to be serious. We've left behind. Sierra Leone is so free. We are just about third to last. In the rank of 193 countries across the world. This is so ridiculous for a country endowed with resources. This is so ridiculous.
Basi, time is not in our favor anymore. It's 10 o'clock. I think we need to end this conversation here right now. Thank you so much for joining us in the program, and we're wishing you good luck in all your undertakings. The program you're watching is Wake Up Sierra Leone here on Africa Young Voices Television, and we were talking to Basi Kamara, who is trying to vie for the flag bearership for the All People's Congress. Well, this is where we end today's edition of Wake Up Sierra Leone. But before we leave, a quick reminder of a quote for today, which says, "People have lost trust in governance. Getting back that trust, instilling a sense of hope and belief that good governance and development will be back on track is the biggest achievement." And that quote comes from Yogi Adityanath. I think I got that one right.
I think you got it.
And an Indian Hindu monk and politician serving as the 22nd and current Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh. In office, he has been in office since 19th March 2017.
Right, and we say thanks to our sponsor, Rokel Commercial Bank, for supporting us to bring this program. And we also say thank you as well to you, Basi Kamara. We wish you all the best in your endeavor for the flag bearership. We hope, you know, just like every other candidate, that you get it the same way we hope for the other people. AYV hopefully will be covering that convention and hopefully bringing it live to the people of Sierra Leone. So once again, good luck with that. Thanks as well to all of you who've dropped your comments, who've been with us all through the program. But this is where we end it, just like Olainka has said. We'll be back again tomorrow, but it's going to be
Samuel
and Antonia Howard.
Yeah. So we'll be back again on Friday.
We say goodbye.
And we have been your presenters. I am Olainka Olukolia saying stay safe and have a blessed day.
Only they can see where the clouds are blue. Only to discover.
Yeah, man! Sierra Leoneans! till we do for push this country go before. Wake up your body and do something. Jungle leader say so. God don't clean back home if I'm with them.
The same old system and the same problem.
So wait till we for do oh, we never did.
Wait for make this problem, yeah, so win.
God don't clean back home if I'm with them.
The same old system and the same problem.
So wait till we for do oh, we never did.
Wait for make this problem, yeah, so win.
Tell me mama and me papa them, do don't clean. Sister and me brother them, do don't clean. We auntie see don't put that you're the one he just a think. When they ask me uncle they say them belly empty. No see the moon they shine you feel say do don't clean. Nothing brother now they go for nothing. For walk up for nothing, but never sit down for nothing. So wake up your body and do something. We no come for tan, we no come for full slangs. All we come on now for six flank to flank. With horsepower and sound now we six flank to flank. That's why people take we forbid the higher rank.
It's a brand new day. People say, hey, darkness is far behind us. A brand new day. People say, hey, blessing must surely find us. So don't worry, no way. Just keep the faith, it'll be okay. There's a better way. With love, there's a brighter day.
God don't clean back home if I'm with them.
The same old system and the same problem.
So wait till we for do oh, we never did.
Wait for make this problem, yeah, so win.
God don't clean back home if I'm with them.
The same old system and the same problem.
So wait till we for do oh, we never did.
Wait for make this problem, yeah, so win.
Tell God thank you because He make you see today. So Molly don't sleep, we don't ever see today. Be grateful to God. Say hey yeah, no say daddy God you good. If you give out them cheap, I know say we self get with food. We not get nothing but we tell you thank you God. For we your life in you blessing God. Wally, oh, kanu, bisye, gewa.
System and the same problem.
So wait till we for do oh, we never did.
Wait for make this problem, yeah, so
listen, go down clean and it's a brand new day. We tell God thank you when we see another day. So Jah Almighty we get for give thanks and praise. Cause it's the giver of life and the one and only way. So my brother and my sister, we for know so we know the future. So we for work very hard just for push this country further. Hey yeah, I know say really hard yeah. But keep trying and one day you conquer. God don't clean back home if I'm with them.
The same old system and the same problem.
So wait till we for do oh, we never did.
Wait for make this problem, yeah, so win.
God don't clean back home if I'm with them.
The same old system and the same problem.
So wait till we for do oh, we never did.
Wait for make this problem, yeah, so win.